If I had known about hypnosis back when I quit smoking, I wouldn't have had near the problem quitting that I did have. The reason I had that problem was because my subconscious mind had been programmed to tell me, and sometimes 60 times a day, it had been programmed to tell me that I can't live without cigarettes, that I needed cigarettes. You don't need cigarettes. You may want them, and you may want them really, really badly, but you don't need them. You know, I need food, but I don't need red meat. So I told myself that I don't need red meat. I don't have eat red meat messages coming from my subconscious mind to tell me to eat red meat. I changed that programming into other forms of protein. There's many forms of protein. Almost everything that we eat has some level of protein in it. So if you change that from I can get my protein from things other than red meat, I can get my protein from beans, I can get my protein from cheese, I can get my protein from various other food sources and food groups, you don't miss the red meat. Let's talk about nicotine and nicotine addiction. I have a degree in addiction studies. One of the sayings that we use is that addiction is anything that you have to lie about. And cigarettes was definitely something that I lied about. I mean, people could see that I was a smoker. I didn't hide it. I had stains on my fingers from smoking. I had missing hair in my nose. Sometimes but I had missing mustache hair or burnt mustache hair from time to time from holding things like this to try to light a cigarette that was that big. It was crazy. People knew I had a nicotine addiction. But if they asked me, did I have a nicotine addiction? The very first thing I would say is, no, I'm not addicted. I can quit anytime I want. That was a lie. I couldn't quit anytime I wanted. And that was one of the things that really undermined my confidence, is that I knew that I couldn't quit smoking anytime I wanted. I knew that I had to have that cigarette. And I knew that if I got into a situation that I was without that cigarette, that I would be in a lot of trouble as far as like feeling good about myself is concerned. Hitler was totally against cigarettes. He would kick people out of his army for smoking. Things like that. Like people would lose their jobs because they smoked in Hitler's Germany. And one of the things that he did when he was negotiating with England prior to World War II is I forget the name of the guy. It's just a story that I heard, and take it for what it's worth, really. But the point is that Hitler had this one of the chancellors from England come over to meet with him. He set up the meeting in a hotel and didn't allow smoking in the meeting. And so the person from England who did smoke and smoked heavily would be sitting there deprived of his nicotine. Well, you can imagine how that went for him. After an hour, he was fidgety, he was chomping at the bit, he was ready to get out of there. But Hitler would keep these meetings going for 2-3 hours sometimes, as a way of demonstrating his superiority, and also as a way of getting the English chancellor to agree to terms just so that he could get out of there and get a cigarette in his mouth. Again, take it for what it's worth. May be true, may not be true. I don't know. It's just one of the things I heard. But as a smoker, I can readily imagine myself being in that position and doing the exact same thing, agreeing to things that I really didn't want because I needed to get that nicotine into my body.